Good morning, everybody. We're here late today, but
I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, I keep interrupting, but this is honestly kind of weird watching people do
I
this.
should introduce him since he's new to the channel. Jeremiah, he's my helper. He's new. He's camera shy, so he probably won't be on camera much. Anyway, we're doing a two-step on this boat and a ceramic coating. So the reason I want to do a two-step is one, well, it's not that bad. Two, saving a little bit on price there. Let's see. It's kind of hard to show you on camera. Can't really see the level of oxidation, but as you can see, it's a greenish yellow boat. But like around these letters, that's what color it's supposed to be. So we're gonna do a two-step on the top and the bottom. Top's not that bad; it's pretty clean, but it's pretty chalked out because it uses bleach to maintain it. So we're gonna polish the top, polish the bottom, and ceramic coat it. Pretty simple. I did, however, I'll show you this in just a second, get a whole bunch of goodies from IGL. I'm gonna tell you more about them in a second. Not sponsored, but super cool company. Alright, I got a bunch of goodies from IGL when I went to their warehouse over in Mobile. I got the ceramic coating, obviously I bought that, and I got the prep just because I want to try it out. I was using Geon prep, but you kind of always want to use the prep that comes from the same company as your coating. Just doesn't rule of thumb, whatever, it doesn't really matter. This is literally alcohol and water with a little bit extra added. But I did get these cool little things. It's a pre-coat, Eco Clean pre-coat. It's a citrus base, it's a prep spray. I know they are really small, but it goes a long way from what I've been told and used. And then I also got a bunch of these little cards with the, and Jeremiah has already fucked them up. But I got a bunch of cards with these little suede applicators, and I got a bunch of these little foam brick or hard applicators for the coating, which I'm very excited about because I've been using those Viking ones from like O'Reilly's, which are fantastic, but not the best. But these, I'm excited to use these. The only thing I didn't get was a pipette in order to drip out the coating because there's no stopper in the coating. It's just a ball, which kind of sucks, but I think we can do without today. We'll figure that out. So, but anyway, let's get into the detail, and then I'll show you more about what I'm going to use to polish with in a little bit when we actually get to that step. So we're going to detail it. He actually already detailed it for us. He didn't know he hired us after he detailed it. So we're going to go detail it and then get rid of some rust stains. It's already pretty clean. And then the polishing process is going to start pretty shortly. It's a pretty clean boat. The main concern is the hull stains, the tannin line on the bottom of the hull. For him, I mean, for us it takes like 10 minutes to do, and it just comes with the detail, but whatever. Let's go ahead and get into it and start polishing. I'm honestly excited to start polishing this boat. I think it's going to turn out fantastic. I think you can buy it by the gallon, pretty sure. If not, I'm gonna buy like 10 of them and put them in a pump sprayer because this takes forever to do with just this bottle. Stuff works fantastic. Starbright rust stain remover. Haven't found anything works better. I'm sure, I mean for the price anyway. I think Stark Yacht Care makes some really good stuff. I haven't got my hands on it yet just because I'm lazy, but let's go ahead and finish spraying it and then roll. great way, just it's not a perfect way, but a great way, general rule of thumb, to see how paint is going to look whenever you're done polishing, or how it's supposed to look, is when it's wet. So this paint is wet. If we go around over here, this side's probably dry. Yeah. See how much duller that looks? It's almost white. It's supposed to be like a beige yellow type of paint. So just a general rule of thumb, whenever it's wet, that's how it's supposed to look. Whenever it's polished, pretty, and all that fancy stuff. Now, about done with the detail, the cleaning part, and we're almost on to the polish. I don't think he's got too much more up there, but I don't know. I like doing the top and the bottom at the same time. It just kind of works out. Plus, he's almost done, and I'm done with the bottom, so it makes a whole lot faster. I'm here to make money, not to really enjoy the process. I still enjoy detailing, but you know what I mean. But anyway, probably not going to show much more of the detail. There's tons of other videos on my channel about boats. Well, I say tons, there's like 3, but there's other videos on my channel about the whole process of actually detailing one. Hey, don't use that on the sides. There's tons of other videos on my channel about the actual detailing process, but I looked back the other day and there's not very many about the actual polishing process and the in-depths of it. So I'm gonna make that today because this is a ceramic coating and we kind of want it to be. You can get in on it. Like, you don't have to
stand there and fucking awkwardly and be like, yeah, it smells like lemons.
Alright, so I told you I was going to go in depth on exactly what tools and products we're going to use for the actual polish, or the oxidation removal. We'll call it that because it sounds more professional, whatever. So the first thing we're going to start out with is the white wool rotary. I got my Makita polisher, and I'm not monetized on YouTube. Maybe you can read that, maybe it's backwards, I don't know. I'm not going to say it, but I got my Makita polisher with a white wool pad, double-sided pad. Just spend the extra money, get the double-sided pad, well worth it. It's always center and it lasts way longer, in my opinion. Anyway, plus you can flip it. And then we're using, so this and this are kind of the same thing. I'm using this, it's the Fast Cut. This is the Super Cut compound by Presta. This stuff does cut really good, but it's a little dusty and it's not my favorite. It doesn't last, you can't work it as long. Your sections are shorter, so to work a little faster, work a little better, this Fast Cut from S&N. It's got a little lemony scent in it, which is really nice, but the reason I use it has a little bit more oils in it, so a little bit more fillers, I guess you could say. I'm not really worried about that because I'm following it up with another step after that, which I'll talk about in a second. But this stuff cuts really well, not super deep to the point that this won't get it out, but this stuff cuts really nicely, and it smells like lemons, so you don't smell like polishing dust all day, which is a really big plus, especially with a beard. It gets all in there, it's bad. This stuff is fantastic. Now, if you don't have access to this stuff, I know S&N is not a super nationwide brand, they're not massive. They are great, they're great. There's just a supplier near me, so, excuse me. So that's one of the things I use. But if you can't get a hold of that, Supercut Compound is fantastic. And then if you can't get a hold of either of those, one of my other favorites, Minerva does make a heavier cut, but Stark, you got Blaze Level R, you got a bunch of different options. I've got more options in there. I'm trying to use up all this stuff before I order more, because I don't know. Anyway, so after that step, we're going to follow up. I've got a 5-inch pad on my 5-inch Max Shine dual action polisher, and it is a medium cut pad. So I'm going to use Minerva 400. I've got it in this little squirt bottle. Minerva 400 is a heavy cut that diminishes into a fine cut. So what that's going to do is allow us to buff out the rotary marks in the gel coat from this massive cut, and then it's going to kind of finish those out really nicely once the diminishing abrasive diminishes. Now I'll show you more. It's kind of hard to record on the top side. I'm just going to kind of do an overview, but I'll show you a little more in-depth actual polishing technique whenever we get to the bottom side, because that's a little bit easier to show. So we're going to go ahead and polish the top side. It's going to take a little while just because there's a lot of ins and outs and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to get with this big old rotary polisher. It's not super bad, especially the places I can't get to, ironically, are not that bad. So this medium cut is going to put in a lot of work there. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So I just finished the top side, the first step, the cut. He's up there. Well, you can't really see him from here. He's up there finishing the second step, the polish of that. Now, if you look at my arms, this is why. Oh, I was just scratching my arm there. This is why I don't like to use the pressed up supercut. But if you saw, I had to switch to that up there because I probably should have sanded up on the top side. It was a little bit more chalky than I thought. There was zero protection on there when we started anyway, like at all. But anyway, just finished the first step on the top side. He's finishing the second step while I'm on the bottom. I'm going to start the first step on the bottom side, which is the cut, the wool rotary pad. We're going to start that. Probably going to use the S&N Supply fast cut, super cut, whatever I showed you a minute ago. I'm going to use it on the bottom side because I'm not going to need that much cut. Now the Presto Supercut does cut a lot. It is a nice cut. I don't like using it for a couple of reasons. One being the dusting. Dust everywhere, slings like crazy. Now I might be using it wrong, but that's just how I use it. And the working area that you get with it, you have to use a lot of it to get a lot of working area. In my opinion, someone might be like, you're wrong, whatever. I don't care. I don't like using it. But I have it because it does cut really well. So I've got that, but I'm probably just going to use the super cut on the bottom with the wool pad, and that should get us just perfect. And then we'll coat. He's basically how I work is I do the first step, I do the heavy stuff, I do the real intensive stuff that I have to make sure it gets right, and he follows behind me with the polisher, and we chase each other all day. And that seems to be the quickest way to work. So if you've got an employee helping you, or if you're a dad watching this and you got a kid, put him to work. But that just seems to be the quickest way that I've found to get through with the detail. Now if I'm working by myself, it's totally different the way I do it. I usually do the entire boat at the same time for the first step, and then come back with the second step and do it all at the same time again. But whatever, so I'm done talking.
you're probably wondering why I've got the rag on the back of the machine. For some reason, this day, the machine got extremely hot. Like, I couldn't touch the back of the machine. So I had to put the rag on there. I'm not using the rag for any other purpose other than that machine got extremely hot that day. Now, we did use it a whole ton that day. It was the main machine we used that entire day. So that might be part of the reason. It hasn't done it since, and this video was a little over 6 months ago, recording this. So, hasn't done it since. Just got hot that day. I think I might have been trying to push it a little further than I needed to. Really needed to wet sand on this boat, but wasn't in the budget for the client, so we didn't. But turned out great nevertheless. Client was happy, so I'm happy.
I'm going to sit here for a second because I'm preparing myself because we're about to do the underside. Also, Jeremiah, his claim to fame is he asked if we can get an electric generator because that one's too loud. And I was like, what do you mean electric generator? He legit, I don't know where his thought process was, but he thought that they made generators that generated electricity off of electricity. I mean, they do, they make generators that are like big batteries, but yeah, not whatever. He's finishing up the second step around the bottom of the boat, and then I'm about to start as soon as I rest my back for a second. I'm about to start on the underside, and then the transom, and then we're going to do the wash, and then we're going to do the coating. It is currently 4:30, and we've probably got about 30 more minutes of polishing, and then it's going to take about 30 minutes to wash the boat, and dry it, and make sure everything's good, and whole nine. It's going to take about 30 minutes to detail it. So we got about another hour before we can start thinking about laying the coating. And then the coating itself is going to take an hour. So it's going to be a long day. We actually got started pretty late today. We got started about 10. We got started detailing about 10:30. We got here about 10-ish, 10:15. I slept in a little bit, to be honest. And I had to pick him up and we caused some traffic and whole nine. Just one of those days. So we got here a little late. If I have to come back tomorrow, no big deal. But we should be done. We should have about 3 more hours. And then we'll be at least in good standing. At least get the first layer of the coating. Because with the IGL coating, we have to do 2 layers. Dude, he has trash. It is recommended to apply marine above the waterline, which is odd. Because that's kind of like below the waterline is the important part, right? Not necessarily. I've had a lot of clients that are worried about the bottom line because they get the tannin stains. Like when the first part of this video was the tannin, removing those tannin stains. And last one that I coated, I actually used, 2 coatings ago. So much. I got to clean this truck out. I just cleaned it out too. 2 coatings ago, I did Underdog. I did this one, which the box is actually, let's see. The box is actually really cool. Kind of hard to get out. 2 coatings ago, I did this one, Underdog, the Marine Detail Series. It's not a bad coating. I think it's got about 18 to 24 months of protection. I can't remember just off the top of my head. It's pretty good coating. I am not the biggest fan of it. The first ever, was it the first? It was the first ever ceramic coating I did was with that Underdog coating, and the top side of it, the white gel coat, got discolored. It turned a little orange. Really weird, and I had to repolish and sand the whole thing actually. So it's not my favorite, but I used it again on the hull of a 24-foot, I can't remember, on a 24-foot boat, and it didn't do bad, but I went back about 2 weeks later to do kind of a maintenance wash, and the hydrophobics just weren't there. Now the sheeting and the self-cleaning, it was clean, all that fancy stuff was there, but the hydrophobics, I like to see it, weren't there. Now the ceramic wax I use is actually fantastic. The wax, or the hydrophobics on that are really great. But anyway, I just wanted to yap for a second because I don't know why I'm just sitting here. But we are going to, also I did sand a little bit. I have my Sunlight disc. I did 1,000 grit on some spots, 1,500. Just hand sanded. I didn't do it machine sanded. There were some deeper scratches that I wanted to see if I can get out. I did. I didn't get it on camera because I don't know why. But I did sand those out before the coating, or before polishing, for the coating. So he's finishing up with the second step right now. He's moving really slow. Anyway, I'm going to start on the underside. Probably sit here for another minute or so, and then get into polishing. Should I start a business vlog channel type thing? I really want to podcast, something like that, because I really want to start something that I can yap more, because I will sit here for 20 minutes and just yap. But anyway, leave in the comments below if you think, and we're going to finish off this boat. I'm probably not going to show you polishing the bottom side, just because that is fairly difficult to show. It's not difficult to show, but it's kind of it's an awkward situation, and you don't really want to see it. Might show you the polishing the transom, but it's all the same. You just left, right, up, down. Keep your pad on an angle. You don't really want to go flat. Start out at about a 3 on the rotary, and then left, right, up, down, and then turn it to about a 6, and then go left, right, up, down. I probably said all that in the voiceover, but anyway, let's get into it. It's all the same thing over and over again. That's why I like boats. They're easy to just kind of bust out and get in a roll. But anyway, I'm gonna get into it, stop yapping, and I'll see you probably when we start the coating, because the only thing left is to polish that and then wash it. You've already seen washing it. You don't want to see that again. There's, again, other videos on my channel about that, and I'll get back to you when we get to the coating. Alright, we're back. It's day 2. I've already done the second coat around the entire boat, and we did a wax on the top instead of a ceramic coating. We did a 1-year ceramic wax, Jessica Powerlight Plus. About 1 year-ish, depending. This is a maintenance, so we're good. Anyway, so I'm going to show you the rest of the coating. I've got about 4 feet left. I'm going to kind of show you the technique I've got going on here. Now, obviously, you want to have your PPE always, because this stuff is pretty toxic. And it's kind of hard to see, but I'll either do 2 lines like that. So you got your draw from one, goes left to right. And you need to make sure that you don't miss any spots, because if you miss a spot, you just look weird. Left, right, and then you go up, down in the same pattern. So you're doing a crosshatch pattern. And this is the second layer, so it's not absolutely imperative that you don't hit every spot, whatever you want to say, but you still want to, because you want 3 years on every inch of it. So that's coated. Now we wait for it to tell us when it's ready to wipe off. Now this one sweats. Some coatings like to get little beads, that's sweating. Some coatings like to do a little rainbow, like an oil spill, stuff like that. This one sweats a little bit, but it's really hard to see, so I like to wait about a minute. So I'm actually looking at the camera, it'll tell me when a minute comes. But after about a minute, you want to level it. Now you don't want to wipe it off, but you want to level it off. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second whenever it's ready. So fun fact, Jeremiah wanted an electric generator. We'll have to talk more about that later. I think I already talked about that yesterday. Anyway, it's ready to level, and you don't want to wipe it off. You want to level it. So usually I do the tight knit side, but we're going to do the fluffy side because I just want to try it out. We're going to do the fluffy side of the rag. Most rags have 2 different sides, some don't, whatever. But we're not wiping very hard. It's pretty light. And just some light little I like to go in a round motion like this. Boom. And it does make your life a little easier if you make sure to kind of remember where you left off. So I like to have little marks. Something you can do is the screws on the rub rail here. You can use the screws or whatever landmarks you want on the boat so that you don't keep coating the same place over and over again. So I'm about right here. So I know that. So then I have this part left. So super simple. I'm going to finish the rest of the boat and then we'll get the after videos and then get out here and get paid.